Dr. Jazz.
Europe. So
Dr.
Oh,
Jazz.
excellent.
yeah,
I,
you ever played here? I don't think you played here, right? No.
no, I wish I was there.
Yeah. Oh
Uh,
man.
I don't. I'm not exactly. I was never clear about my ethnicity growing up, but my father on his deathbed told me that our family was Carpatho-Rus, and that I'm some
Interesting.
kind of ethnic minority, stateless ethnic minority from the Carpathian Mountains,
Wow. Interesting.
like Bill Evans. So I was like, okay,
Somewhere from the east, so
I'll deal somewhere from the east there.
Kimock, yeah, maybe, yeah, Kimock,
Yeah,
that maybe
yeah.
Kimock,
Well,
maybe or something like that.
in
So
the in the uh, in the late 1800s, there was you know um, Eastern European kind of diaspora to the States
yeah,
to come over to work in the coal mines in Pennsylvania mostly. And apparently, when these poor bastards arrived in the States, there's a guy at a desk, and he had like two questions. What's your name? So they could make any name up they want, and they'd be like, "What's your nationality?" And they're all like, "I'm Polish now." Like everybody took the opportunity upon entering the U.S. of A. to like up their whatever you
yeah.
call it.
Now it's almost the other way.
Yeah, oh shit.
But
Okay, Samo,
yes,
Samo. All right, but now we can start.
yeah, no, man, I'll just dig in. I'm a guitarist myself, and I
Okay.
remember like years ago, must be 20 years ago, a friend of mine gave me a Zero CD and with Cole's Law on it. I remember listening to that song, or well, even earlier, maybe like 25 years ago. I was like in my early 20s, and I remember just listening to that song for. It was a nice album. I don't. I think it was one of the live ones, but just that song, and I was like, man, shit, who is this guy? I didn't know you, So then I started to follow you, and I've been a fan for a long time. But I wanted to start this talk with one question. Have you been preparing some new music, first of all, of you as a kind of band leader under your own name, or what's happening on that department?
Um. y- Uh. Yeah. Actually, I am, and it turns out to be much more of a rabbit hole than I thought it was going to be. Because what I wanted to do was, what's the right way to put it? Like when you're a guitar player, you're growing up, you're trying to learn to play. They're like, okay, you got to play these scales, and then there's all this stuff about all these scales, and for the most part, the there's not like a great deal of variety of intervals in the major scale. It's like whole steps and half steps.
Yep.
That's it. That's all you get. Um, and the chords it makes are nice, but they're like kind of vanilla. And so I thought, why don't I just take like the blues scale and try and you know reharmonize and to find the chords that would be in the blues in that basic setup,
Hmm.
going all the way back to like what's the intervallic setup, whole step, half step. And so I'm saying that the blues thing is kind of all in here.
Yep.
It's a minor third, a whole step, and a half step, but there's consecutive half steps. So there's no consecutive half steps in the major scale,
Yep.
obviously. There's no minor thirds. So, but what I wound up doing was taking all the modes of the blues scale and all of the inverse of those modes and then just starting to line them up and looking at the harmony that it creates. And it's like, it's fascinating.
Mm.
It's just like ridiculously deep, because when you think of what happens like with the chord scales and, just with triadic harmony, you don't wind up with stuff like this.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, what the fuck?
yeah, yeah.
And so that's major minor blues scales together with the major on two strings on the bottom and the minor on two strings on top, kind of thing. So that's how I split it up. So yeah, I'm working on a bunch of stuff like that. So there's going to be some reimagining of the perspective of the whole idea that a minor third, a whole step, and a half step is a recognizable tonality.
Mm.
So
That's quite cool.
So I'm working on that.
So you're composing basically music on the basis of that, or
I'm preparing the ground.
okay?
I've got some stuff together, but it's like, it's so cool. It's just like, it's so deep and it's so unexpected, and you wind up with all these beautiful kind of angular, disjunct, sweet harmonies. Just really neat stuff that they're all, you can tile them with the blues scales
Mm.
perfectly, and they sound like $1,000,000, and they're just like completely unexpected. So anyway, so that's part of it. On my own, I couldn't show you unless I made a giant mess, but I've been doing over the last couple of years a lot of, what's the right way to put it? Like untuned found sounds, because I've been such a nerd with the intonation stuff.
Yeah.
By the time I really started to appreciate it, I realized it's just in our heads. We put this stuff together in our heads. Like the meaning that we think the notes have, like it's referring to something else. It's not like, it's not that. It's like it's something else, and we put it together in our heads. So I'm trying to create a bunch of music that allows the listener to find it. So I've got this giant harp from a piano with a bunch of kalimbas stuck to it, bars leaned up against it, and I'm bowing it with giant metal slides and stuff like that. It's a little it's pretty extreme. It's like it's just on the very edge of being musical, but it's really neat to listen to. I think for me, it's it's not the same old blues.
That's good. I mean, it's good that you get to reimagine yourself, or like find new stuff. Because sometimes when I compose music, I'm like, shit, man. Like you said, it's 12 notes. Obviously we can make up various chords and on the guitar, but still it's in a way the same 72 frets if I go only up to the 12th, and it's like sometimes I get not bored, I don't know, but like, so I hear you where you're going.
Well, the part of the reason that I'm doing this, and I could borrow this same thought from any of the arts or nature, but beauty thrives within limits. It's the limits of the rose that are the rose. The limits of the seashell that are the seashell. That kind of thing. And so you have to you want to play all this different stuff, but once you like start realizing that you can actually play randomly and like follow it yourself, it's not like it all sounds the same, but it kind of all sounds the same. And when you do strictly limits any part of it and then run it through its permutations, there's always some good stuff there. So that's kind of my thing.
Mm.
I'll take some amount of things that are not overwhelming number to manipulate. I think 7 is like right at the edge of our information processing.
Yep.
Yep. So 4, 5, 6 notes at a time, and you can kind of deal with that. 5, you still got to split. 6 is a pain in the ass, but 4 is completely doable. But if you just run through all permutations and go, I like this, I don't like that, I need to work on this, then at least you know where you're starting, and you're not kind of under that feeling that there's like an infinite amount of music, and it's like I think in the foreword to George Van Epp's Harmonic Mechanisms for Guitar, which is a book I worked with as a young man, which was way over my head, but I loved it. But I think right at the top he said, the vast majority of combinations of tones are either unplayable or unlistenable, and you're just going to have to just go through some of these permutations, and if 10% of them are good and you didn't know them, then you can leg up on it maybe. So that's kind of how I've proceeded.
Mm. You mentioned George Van Epp. Like, how did you actually enter the world of improvisation? Or you're quite diverse in the music you play, but if I go I guess you started obviously with rock and blues, but like when did this other interests come for you?
Oh, I just wanted to learn, and in the States at least, like if there's a self-taught curriculum for guitar, it's not like it doesn't lean heavily classical. It definitely doesn't have anything to do with blues or rock and roll. It's jazz. That's the only education. And so the cats that played jazz that were also jazz educators, then you had to look at their stuff and listen to their music and dig their examples, man. So I did as much as possible, get through all that stuff. I was a big Ted Green fan growing up.
Oh, wow,
did you have his book?
Yeah, I know, of course.
Chord Chemistry?
Yeah, of course.
Chemistry? Yeah. Oh my God. That haunts me to this day. I must have bought 100 copies in my life just to hand out, and I probably
it's a classic. Yeah.
Original that I got back I probably got it back in the middle 70s or something like that. Yeah. I have it on my phone now, and I'll actually go back and refer to it because I'll remember something that was said, but then not remember, what it was, the chord that only has 2 inversions, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I had to put it on my phone before I remembered it.
No, it's
anyway.
easier,
But I started improvising because that's really the first experience that I had playing the guitar. I didn't know how to play anything.
Okay.
And I was like, I remember not being able to play anything, and I'm jamming with a drummer, and we're under these stairs in his house, and I was just kind of and it worked, and it was just like this little, it was a little finger design, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. You can just kind of paint your way around the thing, and music comes out. I was fascinated by that, as much as I probably would have been better off. Because it's not like I'm ill-suited for it, but there's cats that just figure out how the thing goes and they play it that way.
Yeah.
And they just get better and better and better at playing it. And I see that, I see when cats do that, and I admire. David Lindley was like that, I mean, he could improvise, certainly, But boy, when he put his nose to the grindstone, he had an airtight arrangement of whatever it was that he wanted. I mean, it was just, letter perfect. So good.
Yeah. Yeah.
As opposed to somebody like in that same scene who would just have been more loose with it, like Ry Cooder or something like
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Who were the guitarists you checked out actually? Like, let's say, I guess late 60s or beginning of the 70s. You had like the whole fusion era starting off, obviously, with all these great guitarists, many of who are still alive. You still had the kind of Hendrix vibe going on, and
Oh, well, I mean, um, Jimi Hendrix was like, he was a once in a century kind of musician. He wasn't like generational or something like that. He was, just unbelievably talented and pretty much, um, simultaneously let everything out of the box and nailed it shut at the same time. It was like you couldn't play electric guitar without referring to something he was doing, and you couldn't do it better. So it was like it was an interesting kind of dichotomy. And there was cats that did that. They were just so good that whoever came after could not play without acknowledging their like John Coltrane
yeah,
on tenor saxophone. I remember. I mean, it was just being a kid, being in high school or whatever, and it was still a time when people would come up to me and say, "Have you heard this tenor player?" I'd be like, "No," and I'd listen. I go, "Oh, that's great." It's like, and then after a while, man, there weren't any new tenor players, and on some level, after a while, there weren't any new guitar players either. I don't understand exactly how it worked, but anyway, Hendrix was huge. Um, Add effects using hand gestures. I shouldn't have done that. Make it go away. Hang on a second. I gave a thumbs up and it froze the screen. My apologies. Oh, anyway, so Hendrix is obviously huge. Um, Johnny Winter was
really interesting. Okay,
huge Johnny Winter fan.
really.
Unbelievable. To this day, there's been nobody playing blues or playing rock and roll or playing slash blues rock that straddled the line so effectively
Mm,
you know that the blues guys really didn't like him because he played rock. I think the rock guys were a little up his fucking shit because he
true.
played blues, but the stuff that he played, um, like with Muddy Waters, the blues that he played with, the early record, Progressive Blues Experiment, um, amazing. And then he played all this incredible, just like straight up, just screaming rock and roll as good as
Mm,
any. So he was a big influence. Roy Buchanan was a huge influence.
well,
Adored Roy Buchanan's playing. Dwayne Allman and Dickie Betts.
oh, sure. Yeah.
Although um, I was a huge, huge fan of Dwayne Allman early, but it didn't take long as I tried to understand their music better. Um, that my appreciation for Dickie Betts' playing and writing is
Yeah.
just like it's it just keeps growing. Monster guitar player, great writer. Anytime somebody finds themselves in that position where they're writing music for like a hit rock band, they're writing. Those guys were, Dickie Betts is writing instrumental hits for a rock band.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he was big. At the same time, there was a bunch of like non-rock guys that I was had on fairly constant rotation. I love Julian Bream's 20th Century Guitar
Yeah.
record. And right now, I think Music of Spain might be the best guitar record ever recorded. If you're not hip to Music of Spain, Julian Bream, get that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's ridiculous, man. It's so good. Um, and there's a bunch of other like not guitar stuff that I thought was great. Obviously, we were being exposed to North Indian classical music through the Beatles, right? And so in that, um, during that time when there's a couple of people trying to bring that music to America just to give it more exposure, in a way to keep it alive by keeping interest in it. But that was Ravi Shankar, Ali Akbar Khan on Sarod, and Al Raka, Zakir, rest in peace, is Zakir's father.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I heard that stuff, I got into that too. So I was always again, improvisation level, the North Indian thing is it's just without equal.
Yeah. No, it's insane. Yeah.
Yeah. Buddhadev Das Gupta. You ever listen to Buddhadev Das Gupta on the show?
No, I have to write it down.
Buddhadev Das Gupta, man, check him out. He's like the king of the long line.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. I love that.
His thing is so together, and he's just blazing. You can't believe it, and it's so good. So to the melody and the rhythm, and it's like so coherent. And then, after you've been completely transported for like minutes at a time, you realize there's no frets.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
He hasn't put a foot wrong in like 5 minutes, and he's still like burning it up. It's like, guy's so amazing. I like him. Anyway, but that was like that was a bunch of the early influence, and then there was another batch after that, getting more into the California guys. Jerry Garcia, obviously, Michael Bloomfield, cats that were in the Bay Area mostly.
Is that the reason why you moved to the Bay Area also? Like because of these guys or that kind of music or?
I moved to the Bay Area with a band that I was in called the Goodman Brothers, and we moved there to play music and be in that scene. And I remember waking up. I'm in Pennsylvania now. I grew up here. Spent 40 years in California, but I grew up here. And I remember waking up one day in Pennsylvania, man. I heard this guitar solo come. I had like a clock radio alarm thing. So the music would come on when it was time to wake up. And the music came on right at the beginning of Amos Garrett's solo in Midnight at the Oasis, Maria Moldauer, which is like maybe one of the best guitar solos on a pop record. The best guitar solo on a pop record ever, probably. And I was like, the fuck is this? And then I figured out who it was. I was like, man, I got to go there. And then I heard, what do you call it? Bill Kirchen, Hot Rod Lincoln. I heard Hot Rod Lincoln. And I was like, man, I got to go there. And then I heard Jerry Garcia, and I was like, holy crap, I got to go there. I just heard all these guys, man. And I had to go there. And of course, Ali Akbar Khan College was in San Rafael. So that was local. So, I went and met all those guys, and either played with them or sat with them while they played, and did my best to absorb what I could from them. But yeah, I went there for that.
Did you play with Jerry also, by the way, or?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. How was that like? I mean, hearing him on the radio and then actually hanging out with the guy, man.
Well, I don't know. I could tell you a story, man. It's embarrassing. Zero, as previously mentioned, somehow wound up with the gig as being like the core band for the end of, this is in the 80s sometime, for this thing called the Soviet American Walk for Peace, where a bunch of Russian, Soviet musicians, a bunch of American musicians across the entire country, from New York to San Francisco, ended up in Berkeley Park. Big concert, all the guys from, like the Jefferson Airplane and stuff. Who else was there? like Norton Buffalo, and just like everybody in the local scene, everybody, Anyway, Jerry Garcia was going to play, right? And so we're there at the band shell in Golden Gate Park, and I thought we were done. We were done playing, and Jerry and Parrish are like, there's these steps up the band shell to the back, and they appear at the top of the stairs, and everybody's going nuts because there's Jerry Garcia. People are literally hanging from the trees. You can find pictures of people are hanging out of the trees, and they like start walking down, and they're too high, so they're kind of like this, and then somebody says, one more song," and I'm like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me!" And Greg, God bless him, probably just to mess with me, says, play Little Wing, play Little Wing. Oh, Christ, because I really, like playing that tune back in those days, I did it under protest because it just required so much energy. It was such I mean, for me, just like I was spent to play it with everything I had to try and make sense of that. So we played it, and I burned it down, right? Except the setup for it is the meantime, Jerry's walking over the stage. So before we start this tune, Jerry walks across the stage. He's just about to plug his guitar in, and they go, no one more tune. So his idea of leaving the stage, there's his twin, there's my amp, there's nothing. So he just goes to the other side of my amp and stands there with his guitar, and I have to do that routine. Right? So anyway, I burned it down. And so then he walks the 2.5 feet past my area to the twin, and I'm just shaking in my boots. And he turns to me and he goes, hey, man, don't make me look bad, okay? And I was like, oh, God, it was so disarming. He was so sweet and what a great player, and just, just what a beneficial presence in every way as a musician and a human being, and in that, in that situation under those conditions, with me being like kind of a kid, he really did he just he knew exactly what to do to make it okay. He did. Yeah, it's fabulous.
Those moments are so important for us, right?
Oh man,
when you're young, I think. I mean,
yeah. The other cat that's like that, for me, is Yorma.
Yeah.
From the airplane.
Yeah.
We've become good friends along the way. I met him way back in the 70s, so we've known each other the whole time, and would play on and off. But we got to the point where, it's Yorma and Jack, and Jack played everybody. He played with Jimi Hendrix, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
And I'd always be over on Jack's side of the stage. And he'd be like, come on, man, come on. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, because he's like, come on, he's just got so much energy. He just wants to hit it, let's go. Boom, 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 boom. And in the meantime, Yorma is just like looks right into your eyes and beams unconditional love. It's just like the love vibe, How Jack is like, trying to go up your butt with the thing, So, yeah, you get both of those all the time with people. There's not enough of that, look the other guy in the eye with unconditional love thing, though. For me, there should be more of that. Musicians. Yeah. I mean, I'm just a nerd. I'm a total introvert. I'm very shy, but like meaningful eye contact doesn't hurt the music, man. It really doesn't.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
It doesn't.
Especially nowadays. I mean, I kind of feel it lacking many times.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it is.
Yeah. But Steve, I wanted to ask you, I mentioned zero before, and how did that begin? And it's become like such an important group, I think.
Oh,
And
that's another funny story. I was speaking of jazz. I had a mentor back in the day. His name was Joe Carroll, and he was a bassist, upright bassist, composer, pianist. He played every instrument, whatever. But he played in the he was principal bassist in the San Jose Symphony. Um, he had a band called the Gravity Adjusters, maybe Gravity Adjusters Ensemble back in the day. 4 bass players,
well,
4 upright players, and they played all the classical repertoire for upright bass quartet, which is probably 4 pages thick. You know what I mean? It's like, who would write for that? But apparently people did, and they played it. And then, played a bunch of jazz, obviously, as well. And I took care of his house. That was like, it's like one of those guys. I learned from you. I take care of your stuff. You know what I mean? It was that thing. The right thing, the way you're supposed to do it. You just go take care of the guy's stuff, and whatever drips off, you're supposed to internalize. And so the phone rings, and you pick it up, and the lady on the other end says, it was just her birthday, by the way, says, is this Steve Kimock? I'm like, yeah. Says, Steve Kimock, the guitar player? And I'm like, yeah. I said, who's this? And she says, it's Donna Godshaw. And I said, no, it's not. She said, who is this? Don't fuck with me. I thought it was my friends fucking with me. But it was Donna. And Keith and Donna had just recently extricated themselves, or were thrown under the bus, or whatever the deal was, from the dead, and they wanted to do some playing. And she said, come down and play. And so I did. I went to the studio. I waited outside the door of this place for 6 hours. Anybody to show up. It was ridiculous. Anyway, he eventually showed up. I can't remember exactly who was there, but it was Keith and Donna. And I remember the bass player. I think John Cipollina was coming around, but I'd known Chip for a long time anyway. And Greg Anton was the drummer. And we played and just really hit it off. Had a great time. And there was no at one point he says, let's play X. I didn't know what the song was. And I was like, oh, what key is it in? He just looked at me and said, you can't figure out what key it's in. There's the door. Just like, don't waste my time, Junior. I was like, well, I show you, Grandpa. Anyway, so, but anyway, that was great. And we had a band for a little while. It did, 1 gig, 2 gigs. And then Keith got in that terrible automobile accident with Courtney going over White's Hill. And that's it. He was gone. And, we kind of stumbled around for a little while. But Donna and the bass player, David McKay, were either moved enough or predisposed enough by life and the tragedies surrounding, that they went completely into the church. And so suddenly we were playing these songs it's the same songs, but all of a sudden all the lyrics are about Jesus. And I was like, uh, I really didn't know what to say, but I was like, there's like, I love you guys, but I'm trying to be in a rock and roll
The
band. I know
limit.
there's some part of this that exists exclusively from the waist down, and I need to address that as well. And so they went off to do the church, which is fantastic, and I love them both dearly. And me and Greg were kind of sitting there going, "Oh, oh no, what are we gonna do?" We just want to have a rock band. Um, so I don't know how long it took, probably most of a year to
Oh,
even get, a bass player and a piano player, and, in a room. But that's where it started. It was just me and Greg. And I forget who came on next. Oh, maybe Steve Wolf, who was a roommate of mine, bass player. Great bass player, R&B and blues bass player. And then Martine, who I'd played with in a previous band called the Underdogs, which is
hmm
just like a straight up salsa thing, which was so much fun. I love that band so much. Um, yeah, I think John Ferre might have been the first keyboard player. You know, um, but that's where that started. That band before it was called Heart of Gold Band, and it's with Keith and Donna, and then after Keith passed away, we stumbled around for a while and eventually reformed as Zero.
Mm. Yeah. It's like I think you guys were like everyone then this in the States, especially in Europe, it wasn't so big. Like this jam movement, the jam bands, everything, and I think you
Right.
guys were probably one of the first bands that actually started doing it, besides the Dead, of course. And
Yeah, I think
I think
we
about it
were
now.
relatively early to that scene, and um, because we stuck with the instrumental format for so long, and we also had, um, I mean, there was a bunch of folks that played with us that were, I mean, they were notable players. John Cipollina, uh, Martin Fierro, Nicky Hopkins,
Yeah.
people like John Kahn. A lot of these folks were just giants. Musically influential and had names, and that certainly helps. I know I owe them all a debt of gratitude for putting up with my crap. So yeah.
Yeah. How did Cole's Law happen, Steve? I said I love that song so much.
Oh,
Such a melody,
oh
man.
God,
It's
what
so
is this?
simple, but it's so good, man.
Stupid. It's a. Oh my God, what a stupid story this is going to be. I think. Hang on a second. See if I got a pick in my pocket. I don't. Yeah, that's right. Um, I think I thought I was sitting at the piano trying to write something like sitting here in limbo, you know. But by the time I,
Oh, Steve, I think I think you have to go here under audio settings and like there's like
oh, never mind.
he's
That's
blocking
okay.
the sound of the guitar somehow. But anyway,
Don't worry about it.
it's cool.
Don't worry about it. So I started trying to write something on the piano that was supposed to be like another song. And but by the time I got it to the guitar and started trying to play it, it sounded like the Birds or something. And, and then but that was just a verse. I think I had the whole thing on the piano.
Mm.
No, um, first one of the few things I'd written on the piano, um, or figured out on the piano. Um, I'm not a piano player, but uh, that's where that started, and it's fun to play, and it the way that we normally played it, I thought was good, and eventually it benefited from, like practiced construction kind of thing. Like we knew how to play it. We knew how it was supposed to move dynamically,
Yeah.
and had some idea of, you know, uh, just the proportion of it, the form, and so forth. And but I think there's a whole lot that got left out that might have been cool too, in terms of how to interpret it. So I'm hoping when I get my own band back on the road, hopefully early next year, um, I'll be able to touch on some of those things and play them partially correctly, partially partially updated,
No,
But yeah, that's a good bit.
no, I just love in that song and in your music in general the use of dynamics. It's sometimes it's so quiet. I mean, like you're really down there. I've listened a lot to. I saw Jim Hall many times live, and he was
Okay.
able just to he was playing so intense yet so quiet. Or Bill Frisell,
Yeah.
a guy like that.
Yeah. I've seen it. Any chance I get to see Bill Frisell, I go see him.
Oh man, it's
But he's one of the few. Him and David Lindley. Yeah, I don't want to miss him. At this point, um, if Taj Mahal ever made it back to the East Coast, I wouldn't miss Taj either. But he's been in Hawaii for a long time. It's a long way away.
yeah,
Great.
yeah. No, but what I wanted to say is just your use of dynamics in that tune especially, and in general in your music that you can go like really, and then you can go up. I just love that, just the range because many bands just play loud, and it's like yeah, it's cool, but
Yeah. Well,
you
I
know,
mean, that's what do they call that uh, in the cognitive sciences? Habituation and dishabituation
mm,
response. So, uh, the effectiveness or the strength, the novelty of a stimulus obviously wears off. So, I mean, if it's just banging the whole time, pretty soon you're like looking at your watch,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's just kind of, um, I kind of, as a listener, I would be bored. As a
oh, you bet.
player, horrified of just like leaving it anywhere too long. And there's certainly no one's more guilty than I of leaving it somewhere too long. So,
Yeah.
what, this was something that I was just looking at again, thinking it into the future for my own stuff. Where we started this conversation. Are you working on anything for your own band? And one of the things I'm working on is looking at music that was formative listening for me, and just trying to like grok the pacing of it, you
Mm,
know, like um, like the proportions in the form and dynamics of the thing. And and one thing that for me, I don't know if this is a favorite band of yours, but I was a huge Traffic fan. I love Traffic.
really? Okay.
Oh, oh yeah, no, Stevie Wonder, give me a break.
Yeah.
Um, Dave Mason on guitar as well. That was a really well-rounded band, and so I
Unit, yeah.
listened into. I mean, are you familiar with Traffic?
Yeah, yeah, sure, I know them, of course, yeah.
Oh, okay, so Low Spark of High Heel Boys, right? Um, that side starts out with Hidden Treasure,
Oh yeah,
and,
yeah.
and
That's a beautiful tune. Yeah,
beautiful, beautiful
yeah.
with the
That's a
flute,
beautiful tune.
and
Yeah,
all like kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
tucked in medieval and stuff. It's cool, you know, and then it has this like decrescendo on the way out where there's just like, I don't know, like 8 bars or something like that of just like this like miscellaneous flute kind of like noise bubble kind of noodle. And then I swear to God, there's 30 seconds of silence before Low Spark of High Heel Boys starts. And so like the ramp in between the end of the one tune and the beginning of the other tune and the silence in the middle is I mean, it's a whole nother arc in the dynamic of the thing. And it feels like it goes like this. The song goes out and then it just like goes completely under that 0 point and then comes back up and it kind of fades in, you know. So like the amount of time between the first song kind of fades out and the second song hits, it's like its own thing, you know, of fading out in silence and fading in, and then I think the pacing for the rest of Low Spark, because it's kind of, I mean, it's obviously those guys are playing live in the studio.
Yeah.
It's just masterful. They really did a good job with that. So anyway, so that's something that I'm aware of, something that I'm working on, and something. Part of the reason that I do it again is like a form thing. Like there's a standard form for improvised music. It doesn't matter who's doing the improvisation, you know. It's just, you know, Art Ensemble of Chicago or Ollie Akbar or whatever. There's like this, you know, like slow pooling of energy, and then this more rapid climb up to, you know, a more or less orgasmic peak, and then pew, this precipitous drop off to below whatever activity or dynamic level it started with, and then it comes back in. And this is such a predictable form for improvised music that I'm like constantly looking for models that are other than or whatever that is, or house burning down, whatever that is, you know, that, you know, the big build up and then to just like rapid fucking break it down kind of thing, you know. So like sometimes I think of driving through the desert and there's nothing, but there's telephone poles, right? So there's this nothing, and then there's this kind of regular verticality to it, you know, that suggests some dynamic, you know, pitch height or whatever. And then finally you go around a corner and then there's some giant, you know, mesa or something like that. And there's great novelty. And you go around a corner and it's going, you know. So the idea of this really kind of steady state, nothing happening with, you know, like regular intervals of something and then tremendous novelty and then it's behind you. Something like that, you know, like that's a model for me. Or you know, just strata, you know, clouds and layers, or, you know, rock layers or shelves, stuff like that. There's other ways to like say, how can I, you know, organize this stuff in terms of what the instruments are doing or what the dynamics are doing.
Yeah, it's so important. Yeah. Yes, I saw so many concerts, man, like of amazing names, like, you know, where the concert was like, you know, guitar solo, killing, bass solo, amazing, the most amazing drum solo, second song the same, third the same, and after the third song you're like, shit, man, you know, it's like, it's really good, but it's just like it's all the same. It's like,
yeah, well, there's that, you know, habituation, dishabituation,
yeah, exactly,
you know, response thing again, you know. So it's just like, how do you I mean, the question is, okay, so you can play at all. How do you maintain some variety in the thing?
yeah,
You know, with the instrumentation, you know, with the arrangements, with the songs, with the keys, with the tempos, with the dynamic. You know, you got to just keep juggling stuff so people don't go completely to sleep. I hope I do better with it by next time around. I really do, man. I think about it all the time. You'd think by now, you know, dude, I'm going to be 70 in like a month or a couple of weeks or something like that.
Amazing.
You'd think I'd have figured this crap out by now, you know. Not really.
I love it that you have this energy. Like, But I spoke. I was a student of John Scofield like years ago, and we're still friends, right? And I saw him last year. He did a duo gig with Dave Holland,
Oh, nice.
and
Beautiful.
you know, I speak with John after the concert. I'm like, man, you sounded amazing. You know, like he was really, you know, duo amazing stuff. And he was like, yeah, shit, man. You know, I have to practice. And I was like, come on, man. And he's not just saying it. You know, he actually, I know he practices still. It's like, damn, you know, I love it that you guys have this still this energy. Like, okay, shit, I want to explore this, and it's beautiful.
Oh yeah, I'm not happy with myself if I'm not on that like steep part of the learning curve about something.
Mm,
I mean, even if I have to go back and just like try to tune to the kalimba to something else, I mean, I gotta have something to figure out. As long as I feel like I'm figuring something out, making some kind of progress, then I you know, I'm fit company. But if I'm not, I'm not fit company. You don't
mm,
want to be around me. I'm just like I'm like angry or something, or dissatisfied, or depressed, or whatever. I'm just a person. So I do all the same stuff that people do. But it's mostly for me having the instrument that keeps the wolf away from the door.
yeah, yeah, it's important. Yeah. Uh, Not to take too much of your time, I wanted to ask you about that one group that. How did you get Alfonso Johnson and Rodney Holmes, that band? You know, I'm a huge fan of those guys, and like, what's the story behind that band? Like, because they're, you know, they're monster players, and
Oh, um, well, I'd known Alfonso for quite a while. I obviously knew of his music. Um, I remember seeing him. I saw him with was it must have been Weather Report.
well,
Um, Way back in the day. I was just a little kid practically. Anyway, so I've been aware of him for some time. He wound up post Garcia after Jerry died um, on the gig with the surviving participating members, and they had enlisted me to play guitar along with 10,000 other motherfuckers. And so we had fun playing in that. And then I think we did some other stuff um, in between with another band. And where was I? Oh, it's in New York. And uh, one of the cats that used to do management also knew the Santana, or the whole Santana group. And Rodney had just left Santana. And you should, check this guy out. And I was like, okay. So we got him to a gig in New York, I believe at the Wetlands,
mm,
for the first time. And we were like, okay, yeah, let's try this. Just as a collaborative kind of mutt Jeff songwriting thing. Because we tended to write. We're coming from such different places. You know, um, I mean, he's just an extraordinary musician and inscrutably deep.
mm,
Master of all things rhythmic. And I'm like crippled rhythmically, basically. So he put up with me. But once we just, tried to get something to go, and it was like, because, um, that Alfonso and Rodney had worked together with Wayne Shorter. He says, let's get Alfonso. It's like all about that. Yeah, let's get Alfonso. So Alfonso was like, sure. And I was like, okay. Um, anyway, so that's where that started. The funniest part about it, though, to me, like trying to push the boat off the shore, was I want to get together with Alfonso because I want to play him some music. I want to I guess we were playing CDs at the time or something.
Yeah.
But I wanted to hear some stuff that I thought was cool, you know, and or maybe it was on my iPad. I don't remember. Whatever it was, I think the very first thing I played for him was Hermeto Pascal Slaves Mass.
Okay.
The song starts and it's in 7/8, and it's just like, and the bass is just like grooving. It sounds amazing, and I'm like right in Alfonso's face. You hear that? You hear that? That's fucking bass guitar. That's bass. That's what I want the bass to sound like. I'm like right in his face. And he goes, again, like with the unconditional love, he's doing that. He goes, Steve, that's me. And I'm like, oh no, wait a minute. Here, listen to this Paul McCartney thing. You know, I felt so stupid. I was playing his own thing back to him, like that's what I want him to sound like. Oh God, you know.
Fantastic.
Steve, that's me. To my favorite 3 words of my entire career.
That's
Trying to tell
beautiful.
Alfonso Johnson how to play the bass. Anyway, so yeah, so it's like that. Yeah, it's all a lot of fun, and I'm constantly I'm constantly either like stumbling onto something transcendental because I've tried a million things and something happens, or embarrassing myself in front of me.
No, that was a beautiful band, man. Really, that was such a killing group. Like,
Wow, is that a killing group?
really.
I listened back to some of his recordings and I'm just astounded, man. It's really good.
Yeah,
Stuff is really
yeah. There's so many bootlegs and stuff of that band out there.
and yeah, and
It's like amazing.
a lot of the stuff is more well recorded than most of the
Yeah.
bootlegs out
I love that. When you sometimes get to hear 3 gigs in a row of a band and how it sounds differently, with those guys, and beautiful,
there.
fantastic.
Yeah, well, the sound, whatever you're doing, the sound you're making, like you're not making it, it's a sound that's in the room.
Yeah,
So sometimes you're in a room that has good acoustics and a phase coherent stage and easy sight lines, and the communication is good in every way.
yeah,
Um, and then you can have a great gig, and then you'll get in another room and you're stuck behind some post on the stage, and it's all a bunch of carpet and it sounds like shit. And it's dark and you can't see anyway. It's just like, and you struggle. And it still sounds okay, but you can tell a difference, man.
absolutely.
When
Yeah,
the room and the audience are on your side. Good Lord.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, Steve, what are the gig plans for the upcoming ones? I mean, do you have any plans of coming to Europe one day, or uh,
I plans. Oh man. I'm ready to you don't know what it's like back here, man. I'm ready to move there. I'm like I'm like I'm looking at real estate in Italy. I'm not shitting you, you know.
that's close to
Uh,
me?
yeah. I'll come stay at your house or something, man.
No, man. We have a guest room here. Come.
Yeah. Yeah, shit's getting stupid over here.
Yeah.
Um, it's bad. Um, yeah, I would love to be in Europe more. It's just really expensive
It's heavy, right? Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
to travel and play in Europe. If I get lucky, and this next ensemble that I put out there um, doesn't have to start like in a deep hole. It just does okay right off the bat, and people are in. Um, the musicians are encouraged by the music and the vibe of the thing enough to like take a hit on the pay than a C in Europe. But ordinarily, it's just a matter of economics.
Yeah.
But I fly everybody over there, just like it's a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, I was trying to think if there was something else I wanted to say about playing in Europe. No, I'd love to be there.
Mm.
Yeah.
But you've done tours in Europe under your own name in the past, or
No,
no, right?
I've
Yeah.
played I've played over there with my friend Billy Goodman,
Hmm.
the Goodman brothers, for people that I
Yep.
went from Pennsylvania to California was originally. Um, I've gone over there with the ensemble with my son on drums, uh, and Billy and a cellist, and done some gigs. Uh, different stuff, but mostly acoustic, mostly in Germany, some in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Real low key kind of stuff. I just have not been able to get it together to,
Yeah. Yeah.
like drag the whole crew.
I hear you.
So
Yeah.
I can't. I honestly can't wait. You got any ideas? Let me know.
Yeah. It's after COVID, it's gotten so much harder gig-wise here in Europe. Also, it's
Oh yeah, no, it didn't get any easier here, and I knew two things about the COVID thing. One of the things that I knew was going to happen that was bad was I just knew that the whole scene was just so kind of chaotic in a way, that once it was broken down, it could never reform
yeah.
the same. Whatever happened next was going to be something else. Wasn't going to be what it was. Things weren't going to go back to normal, in other words, and they didn't. What I didn't understand about COVID, the blessing in it for me was that during lockdown, in order to be locked up in a house with the wife and the two kids and be fit company and not really being able to play or do my regular live music catharsis, I just had to listen constantly.
Mm.
It took years, that whole thing to wrap up. And I listened to so much music, every kind of music, just constantly. And I really like went back to the well in a way that I couldn't while I was working. When you're on the road all the time, two things happen. You're done with the gig. You don't want somebody putting on a tape or turning on a radio. It's like, leave me alone.
Exactly.
And your concept development is stalled anyway, along with trying to remember, because of what you're trying to do. You're trying to remember and practice execution for other stuff. So just to put more music in, to get more music out, and to have a opportunity just in my head to have some concept development. That aspect of COVID and a lockdown turned out to be very good for me. That was good
Mm.
for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
The rest of it, in terms of like getting work, not so good.
No. Yeah, but yeah. Just to practice and stuff. I
Yeah.
practice so much, man. I've done so much studio work, like this long distance that developed in the COVID. Like,
What are you working on now?
I have a recording in November with two Chicago guys, Tim Daisy on
Okay.
drums and Jeb Bishop, trombone player.
All right, nice.
And yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of I'm going back to the acoustic guitar a lot lately. I don't know why. I really love it more.
Oh yeah, me too. I mean, I'm sitting here with my
Yeah. I
it's
love.
just Super 400.
Ooh,
It's like I think it's a 51.
oh, beautiful.
Super 400. Oh my God, it plays and sounds so good. I got a bunch of arch tops, and a couple of flat tops, a couple of resonators, stuff, regular stuff. And the 40s and early 50s Gibsons for me, just ideal.
Mm.
Really. This is the best. This is the best one I've ever played. I never played it better. Better arch top, so we were super happy with it.
It's something about the acoustic, right? It's like just the way it resonates and you touch it, and it's I don't know. It's like, whew. Even though you know I love the effects and the reverb and the volume pedal and everything, then you go with the acoustic and it's like, damn, play like a E minor 7 chord or whatever G chord. It's like, man,
Yeah,
that's the sound we love. So
yeah, it's just right. It's just right there.
it's just right.
Yeah, part of the problem with the electric guitar is it's got pickups on it usually, and pickups have issues.
Yep.
So the more pickups you have, the more issues you have. You know, there's more magnetic string capture from the mags to the strings. You know, the mags and the pickups to the strings.
Yeah.
Then you realize most of the time, and when you get the pickups off the guitar and the string is just completely free to vibrate. Oh my God!
Yeah,
it's like it's a revelation. You know.
So true. Yeah,
I
agree. Cool, sir. I'll leave you a nice what is the afternoon? You're probably there.
Hey man, thanks so much for the opportunity. And
thank you for finding the time.
And please don't be shy to send me some music when you get that next project going or anything.
I will. And also, if you're going to be in Europe, like I said, we really have a guest room here, and you're kindly invited to. You're going to be around. You know, we're living in vineyards area. It's like really virtually in the vineyards. And,
beautiful.
So it's
yeah, I would love. You know, my wife is Swiss.
Really? Okay.
And so you know, we go over once or twice a year just because.
Oh well, drop me a line.
So it's not like we're not there. It's just we're not touring there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I love.
Let me know. Drop me a line if you're in Europe, and easily, really, you can stay a couple of days. I show you around.
Awesome. Yeah. You know, email me or text me your location, just a town or something.
I'll send it to Jennifer because I was in contact with her. So,
exactly. Yeah.
And then we can, whenever, if you're going to be, we can hook it up and
that'd be awesome.
Play and hang and everything. So
play our acoustic guitars. I'll bring mine.
Absolutely, I have many, as you see. So, and a banjo back there also. So, yeah.
Oh, I just got not too long ago. I got it's a 1931.
Ooh.
I think it's a 1930 or just like right on the cusp there. National resonator plectrum banjo. So it's the long neck one like Pete Seeger played with the tricone.
How does it sound?
Resonator body. It sounds otherworldly.
Cool, right? Yeah.
Super cool. I like the old resonator guitars, resonator tenors and banjos and mandolins and guitars. Have fantastic sound.
It says something about it, yeah. Definitely.
They're loud.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Steve.
Thanks.
Thanks again. Stay strong.
Thank you.
Stay in touch.
All right.
Bye.
You too.
Ciao.
Adios.